From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Dressel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. It's going to be perfect. Yeah, we did it. All right. Hey, everybody. Cool. We got such a cool show. Brandon Burton has decided to come back on. I was so glad. Frady might not want to come back on the show after the first time. Just teasing.
The first show.
Hopefully, he had a good time. The
first show was remarkable.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Oh, he did. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here tonight.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm so pumped.
I'm horrible about when we have like big guests on. I'm thinking, okay, we'll never see them again.
Oh, no, they love it.
Like, it was cool that Carl Johnson's been on 3 times, and we got David Oman last week. That was cool. And David wants to go on, and we're talking about, I was looking at flights to LA. Good Lord Almighty.
Hey, we'll sort it out.
We'll do a fundraiser.
Yeah, we got it.
At the gym.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll sort it out.
Send us to Beverly Hills on your dime.
Yeah. Hey, but for real, guys, sorry we're a little bit late, but we got caught up talking with Brandon in a sec.
Yeah, I said we got to stop. We got to go live because it's very interesting. Brandon's been talking about some new stuff that he's learned, and let's just go ahead and bring the man on for crying out loud. There we go. Hey, there he is.
Hi.
How are you, Brandon?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're great, man. Thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate it.
Listen, thanks for having me back. No, I really did enjoy that first time too.
I'm so glad.
It's really cool what you guys do for people, especially doing what I do now. The more people we have like this, the better people can heal. Like
absolutely.
They can go through some process on their own without having to resort to other things. So anyway, thanks for having me back.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing that like Garrett and I talked about before doing the show is I wanted to try to educate people about the afterlife, that it's not exactly what we were taught in church. It's not hell and damnation. It's not God getting ready to hit you over the head with a hammer. And but man, some people get so offended. But the funny thing is we're trying to help people. But I was telling Garrett the other day, I said, you know what? We could take a rubber bat and sit here and hit each other on the head for like 10 minutes and get a million views. But we could talk about something that's really important and get 160 or 700 or something like that.
But the thing about it, like we always talk about, is no matter what the topic is, we absolutely are so curious.
I know. We're as curious as our audience is.
I love the fact that Brandon, we hadn't talked. I mean, we keep in touch, off and on, but to reconnect with you on the hills of last week was so great. And then to have you on, such a positive energy, and everything you were saying before the show is why we do the show.
That's right.
He is a psychic.
Yep.
He's reading our minds.
Absolutely. So Brandon's going to kind of tell us a little bit what he's been up to, and then later on, he said he would do a few readings. So if you guys want to read him, just let me know in the chat, then I'll paste the link for you. So Brandon, what have you been up to, buddy?
Well, first and foremost, too, I do want to give a shout out to everybody who is listening and who is taking the time out of their night to listen. Thank you for joining me. To just listen to what I have to say. I just want to say, though, I'm just like everybody else. I've just been able to kind of dive in and understand information in ways that maybe most can't. And so I'm just really thankful for you two to have me here to give myself the opportunity of kind of normalizing spirituality to a degree that is easy to understand, especially when it comes to the journey of souls. And when you ask what I've been up to, there is a laundry list of things that I've been up to, but one of them is teaching people how to efficiently go through a spiritual awakening.
Let's talk about it.
So for me, what is a spiritual awakening? Well, for me, a spiritual awakening is when you unveil your eyes to the next and last half of your journey. This is going to be a time in your timeline where it doesn't have to be difficult anymore and you're only choosing for it to be difficult. This is usually going to be a portion of your timeline where you've already gone through your trauma, You've gone through some toxic relationships. You've learned a lot about yourself. Now you're getting tested as far as, listen, you're in your bliss portion of your life. And then now what? You think, though, that things are going to be robbed from you because of childhood trauma. You think that, maybe you're going through some sort of like religion detachment through a spirituality alignment type of awakening, and you're not quite understanding why you were placed in the family that you were placed in, or why you had the people in your life do the things that they did. You might be very, very isolated from your family, friends, and or your family members because you don't feel belonged or fit in or seen or heard or validated. So then you establish your own walk of life, getting rid of things that don't serve you and keeping the things that do, and really focusing on your fulfillment and joy. But then you feel very blocked, guilty, and stagnant. And so that is a very, very normal phase of a spiritual awakening. Oftentimes people don't realize what they're going through, and that's what you're going through is a spiritual awakening. It's in the soul side, it's when your soul contract is over and the lighter loads are coming. And so your spirit guides will literally, if I'm in a reading and I'm connected and their guides are there, they're going to, if I'm talking to somebody that needs to be reminded that they're going through a spiritual awakening, their guides will rip up their contract, their soul contract. And for those that don't know, soul contracts are what we write with our soul spirit guides before birth. This is where we sign up for their journey. Everything we are going through, everything we're experiencing, we've already agreed to. That's why they say you're designed to handle anything that comes your way. It's because you're legitimately the person who has thrown it your way. You're just receiving it at the age and portion of your timeline that it was intended to experience. And you just think that you're a victim going through shit, but really your guides are doing their part, God is doing his, and everyone's just participating in their role. But we have this unrealistic expectation of life that based off of movies, we have the I wish I hads. This is how we think that a mom should be one way and a dad should be another. And when they're not, we blame them for our lack of experience or reason why I'm one way. So it's one of those things where if you can realize that from a soul having a human experience, that's all we are, is a soul having a human experience. A part of that experience is going to be about releasing that expectation and understanding that they had to be that version of themselves in order for you to be who you are today. And the moment that you can understand, so I'm only really talking to those who are at that portion of their life where they are just fine with who they are and they're satisfied with their moral compass, their values, wherever they're at in their life. Like if you're still going through trauma and if you're still going through these phases of your life, this may not resonate. But if you've gone through your BS and if you're just kind of floating through, like trying to find purpose, you've maybe remarried or lost a child or gone through some sort of really crazy adult-like trauma and or child trauma, and then as an adult, you're just trying to find clarity. You're probably also somebody who has thought life would be better if you weren't breathing. You probably thought life had no purpose. You probably even thought some dark thoughts. So this conversation today is really probably just to help normalize spirituality in a way that reminds us all that we do have great purpose and there's so much more to life than this. And that if we can just open up our eyes to our signs and symbols, we are guided on it daily and we're not doing this shit on our own.
Right. That's interesting. So do you think like at the end, our soul contract that we write and, I guess we plan the end of our life as well. And once we do get through all the garbage and the trauma that we went through, and when we're at that period, like, oh, this is great. It's always in the back of my mind. Okay. When I get all this figured out, then that's when I'm going to die. And it's like, I want to enjoy myself. And it's like, you said they can tear the soul contract up. So telepathically, if I talk to my guides and go, I don't know when my death's coming, but look, I'm having a great time right now. I'm not ready. Don't you think we kind of know as we get older and older, maybe lonelier and lonelier, that we're ready to go and that possibly because we're ready to go. I see it all the time. I'm in the medical profession and I've had patients tell me I'm just ready to go ahead and go on. And then 2 weeks later they pass away or even earlier than that.
Yeah. So what's the question?
No, my question was, if we get to a point in our life after that we've went through all this trauma and we're like, man, I'm at a happy place. I kind of understand my reasoning here and I'm enjoying life. In the back of my mind, I always think, okay, that's when God's going to take me. I've completed my process. But if I think, man, you know what? I'd like another 20 years. I don't know what my contract says when I'm supposed to die, but if that's okay with you, God, can I have 20 more? Because I'm having a great time down here. I know that sounds ridiculous. I know. Even Garrett laughed at that.
I get it.
Are you trying to wonder? Are you wondering? Are you asking if we have the ability of adding years to our life?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. I mean, if we're so I don't know. I don't know what I'm asking.
Okay. It's a great question, because if the question is, do we have the ability of adding years to our life? 1000%. And here's why. We have a thing called free will.
Right.
And you know what comes with a long life and what creates that is health. So you don't get to ask the guides, can I live longer? You get to choose to live longer. And then your choosing gets to dictate your rest of your choices as far as what you eat, how you take care of your body, but more importantly, how you take care of your health and your soul. See, oftentimes we're taught how to. So right now we're in the era of mental health. And I love it. I'm all about it. I'm obsessed with understanding it. But I'm entering the era of soul health and how to understand it, how to take care of it. What can we do?
The two so correlated.
Yeah, and I've learned the thing I think I've learned in my life, and I'm 50 something right now, but I learned to surrender some things. Like when I start worrying about a bill, let's just take something easy, like, oh God, this bill's coming up, I can't pay it. And then I thought, you know what's the worst that's going to happen to me? I'm not going to die. Right. And so the less I worry about it, it usually gets taken care of. And you have to learn to kind of let go sometimes of all that.
Right, for sure.
And and so that's what I've started to do in my life. It took me 50 something years to do this, but it is freeing.
So like busting at the seams. So one of the things that I would love to kind of talk about is maybe like just information download of just some things about some information about the reality within my understanding and my practice within the journey of souls, and how if you could understand what I'm going to tell you, then bills and shit like that doesn't even play a role in your stress.
Right.
Go for it, please.
Yeah, because there's such other things I could have complained. This is worse than that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think
No. I understand the variable with the stress related of like, I don't know what's coming in or I don't know what's coming out, whether it's money, whether it's relationship, whether it's the fear of somebody dying, whether it's whatever it is. If you could surrender and understand the reality of the journey of our soul, then you'll truly be able to surrender fear day by day. So first and foremost, I feel like it's important to go to like spiritual 101, right? 101. Mm-hmm. 01. And so first of all, let me say a couple other things, because I just want people to know a few things before I start talking about this content. A little bit about myself for those that are listening and that are like, who the hell is Brandon Burton? So here is some information. So just briefly, I grew up in church. I was very, very tethered to religion. I went on mission trips. My brother is a pastor. Everyone in my family basically has some sort of missionary type of job and or position in church. And so throughout my childhood, I experienced a lot of trauma. I was sexually abused. I never went for several years. I never went to a school the same more than a year. And we moved to several cities because my mom was single with 3 kids and couldn't afford. We lived in California, so she was constantly moving. Right. My dad found himself in prison when I was the age of 9. So I walked through a lot of my life really going through a lot of trauma, and I was bullied, like everything you could think of, like legitimately happened to me. And then my brothers too, like we just went through a lot of bullshit. Can you cuss on this?
Yes, yeah,
dude.
yeah, absolutely. Please
Speak
do.
your mind.
Please do.
Continue. Speak your mind.
So I really walked a lot of trauma, and where nobody asked me how I was, and nobody even like cared to think about who I was becoming or like how it could affect me or whatever, right? Like I really just never felt seen or heard, and more importantly, never was validated as far as my emotions, nor was I taught how to freaking come through them and express them and talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
So it became a big part of my life because it defined who I was. And then it robbed me from my communication. I couldn't communicate. When I was 18 years old, I started a photography business and I couldn't communicate. I couldn't talk to parents because I was so bottled with trauma that my wife or girlfriend at the time had to come with me, and she had to really do mostly of the communication. I didn't know how to talk to kids. I didn't know how to talk to parents. Like I don't know what I was doing. I was pulling, like I was feeling led to do photography, which is why I was doing it. And I just was faking it till I was making it, because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Over time, I let go of my insecurities and I let go of my communication problem. But then last January, COVID happened, of course. 2020 slowed everybody down. Everybody had to realign. That was a global checkpoint for the spiritual realm. They needed that. That's a whole different day. But what happened with me was I reset. My whole occupation changed. Everything started to change. I went from like this big business with like 20 plus employees and members and all these things to like nothing, because I had to downsize. And from that downsize, I then entered into a mental space where I had the capacity to grow and to release myself from things that were controlling me and my worth and my value and really dictating the walks of life I had. So then January came. This was last year, 2021, January. This was the beginning, and this was the start of my spiritual awakening, where I started to really start to get pulled. I started to hear more. I started to see more. I started to really connect more. And I just didn't understand. In fact, I thought I was getting called to tarot cards. So I started to learn tarot, and then I hated tarot. I was like, this is too sloppy. This is too variable. Like I'm not a bullshitter. And I'm just like, this is not working for me. Like, this is too generic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I then started to just connect to myself and to my own guides. I was being led in a different direction. And then there was a lady that I knew who was a medium, who pulled me in as a student. And then she had me in for like 1 or 2 of her classes. And she just taught me how to meditate, and she taught me etiquette, like bedside manners, as far as readings, as far as learning mediumship goes. And that was the gist of what I learned from her, realizing that a spiritual awakening is a one-of-a-kind, very generic, it's one-of-a-kind organic process that only every soul goes through at the time they're supposed to go through it. And then I realized in this time, I felt so alone and so isolated. I remember crying like every night, because I remember knowing what I knew, and then it contradicting with my religious beliefs. But then I just felt so like I fit with it, like it just vibed with me. It just made so much sense with this information, these downloads, this what I was receiving. And then I started to feel more spirit. I was starting to feel more and to experience more. And so I was led to just talk to people. And so I started doing practice readings, and then it just all came natural. It just all kind of clicked and vibed, and it just was what it was. And of course, since then, I've grown a lot. I've done over 500 readings in a year, and I've channeled over 6,000 souls. I've seen a lot, and I've experienced a lot, and I've had a lot of downloads. I've had a lot of visions. I've had a lot of premonitions. I've had a lot of deja vu. I've had a lot of research, because you have to know just from the beginning of my story that I'm not a bullshitter, and I have an etiquette, a moral compass where I'm just like, I am putting myself to a name that really does mean something, and that's mediumship. That is something that can really hurt somebody, or that can really help somebody. And then I realized that it's just about intentions, and that I'm not God and I'm not perfect. And so I had to get out of my own way. I had to get out of my own ego, because I thought if I'm wrong, they're going to think that I'm fake, or that they're going to think that I'm what's it called?
Charlton.
Just I don't know, imposter, like I felt the imposter syndrome.
Right.
And I just was like, I just need to tell people how it is, and I need to educate people on this experience, and I need to teach people how they can connect, because it's not about me at all, like at all. It's not about the celebrities, mediums you see on TV. Hollywood has skewed mediumship so much. And it pisses me off because it robs people from the spiritual healing that everybody needs in order to embrace the life that they were gifted with. It should provide a different understanding. It should adjust the narrative, and it should just open our eyes that God is not against you, and that the world is not against you, and that there is reason that you went through the bullshit. When you go through the spiritual awakening, there's a process that you go through to find clarity. With clarity, you get to understanding. And when you can understand certain components in your life, you get to gratitude. When you get to the gratitude portion of your life, you have to be grateful for every single portion of your life, if and only if you're grateful for where you're at. If you're grateful for where you're at today, you have to be grateful for the sexual abuse. You have to be grateful for the divorces that your parents went through. You have to be grateful for all of the anger. You have to be grateful for all the bullshit. Because you know why?
You are.
Because you know why? That's how I got where I am today. But also, if it's me to take the heat so I can help my kids be educated behind sexual abuse, then so be it. I'm not letting that define who I am, nor am I allowing that to define me as a victim. It's using me to empower me because I chose that journey.
Right.
You can't cherry pick who you're grateful for and what you're grateful for based on the weight of the trauma. Trauma's trauma. It's all the same. It all equals the same. On a spiritual journey, you have to remember that you chose those participants to be that role in front of your life. And I understand that this comes across insensitive to those who are very low vibrational, human-like. So if you could increase your vibrations for a moment, if that sounded like you, if you can increase your vibrations and dehumanize yourself for just a brief moment, because all you are is a soul having a human experience. So then you have to understand that part of what you go through is only simply because you're human.
Okay. Sorry.
I was just going to say, in my practice, I'm able to connect to animals. And then also in my practice, I'm able to connect to different portions of timelines and dimensions. And I'm able to understand reincarnation to the fullest degree that we're able to understand it. And I'm here to just tell you that souls can have animal experiences. Souls can have tree experiences. Souls can have mountains experiences. Souls are in the planet everywhere. And there's proof. If you look it up, there's a network in the mushrooms, like they're everywhere. All soul life is everywhere. So then we're human, and we attach what we have to do based off of a book, based on whatever religion. And we are then using this as a structured based way of living, which is great. The only thing that's the problem is when it enters fear and shame for being who we were born to be. So whatever higher religion connotation you might have in your walk of life, I would really invite you to open your eyes to understanding who you are, because that is who you need to give time to, with understanding who you are. And if that goes against whatever religion beliefs you may have, then maybe that walk of life isn't meant for you today. And so with all that said, I'm trying to come across as a very sensitive speaker towards religion, because I'm not here to tell people what to believe. I'm not here to tell people to believe in me, because this isn't a belief system. Religion is a belief system. So to me, this is legitimately found information through past life regressions, research and studies all over. It's just the matter of are people looking for this? No, because if they were, they would already know this content. So what I've been able to do is do it myself, and then now I can translate it to people that were like me last January.
For sure. I mean, the question I was going to ask, it's I was going to ask it, and I knew I had to get in there because This is all mind blowing, because then we went right into, different dimensions and things that we really need to circle back to, Brandon, really fast. But to your point earlier, and it all goes back to this, what's the purpose then? Like, if we're signing this contract and we're going through these experiences and there's something so much better and so much bigger, what's the purpose of doing it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was my question too. Is like, what is this a prerequisite to? If everything is perfect and everything's great on the other side, then why do we need to even learn anything if everything's going to be perfect and great on the other side? That's one thing I've always kind of struggled with trying to understand. We're down here. Everybody says, well, you're here to learn. Well, learn what? Because I'm going to be fine over on the other side. But
cool. So absolutely so it's a very loaded question, because there's purpose in all things. There's purpose. You have a physical purpose, and then you have a spiritual purpose. So if you're talking about purpose, it's actually quite hard to understand that, because that is a level 40 question. So to get there, you have to understand something first. This is kind of what I was trying to think about starting off with, because then purpose would make more sense after this little spiel. So there's 5 ages of souls. Souls are aged based off of lessons. And in order for you to achieve each phase of age, you have to check all of your boxes with the lineup of lessons that are required to learn to enter each phase.
Gotcha. Okay.
That does not mean you have 5 lives. So we're going to say there's 500,000 lessons to be learned in phase 1. So we're going to call that very young soul. So let me backtrack though, because people that are listening, they're going to be like, what? But then some of you guys aren't, because you talk to your children and you say to your 5-year-old, you're an old soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. They're an old soul because they know lessons that they don't have to learn in this lifetime, because they've already learned them. And they carry them through each lifetime. So every soul carries your lessons through each lifetime. That's why we're able to recognize a young soul at the age of 5. But why don't we do the same when it comes to a 50-year-old who can't seem to get their shit together and say, wow, you're a young soul?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic point.
Well, so oftentimes you have to remember that what comes with human nature is studying the maturity and age based off of a physical year, all based off of that unrealistic expectation of life.
For
the only reason why you think that 50-year-old should have a shit together is because we measure maturity based off of age, right?
Yeah. That's a human thing.
But you're looking around and everybody has different walks of life, because every soul measures age differently. And so we're all just gauged based off of the experiences before this life. Now, there's part of personalities in the vessel that the soul chooses that only allows certain lessons to be had. There are words that humans can describe some of these lessons. So, of course, as far as lessons go, we're talking anger, sadness, but there's 30 billion types of anger. There's 50 types of sadness. I mean, there's all sorts of types of emotions and lessons and mindsets and all of the things. There's so many things, and there's no way to learn all of it at one sitting. So then when you start the planet Earth, you have to go all the way back through until you're every race, every gender, every culture, every location, all of those things. And so we have soul amnesia, right? So soul amnesia, that's where we forget each lifetime, and that's because of protection. So if you remembered your mom in the other life, you would want your mom in this one if she was a great mom.
Right.
Yeah. And children, if you remembered your children, you would, okay, that's why you don't remember your other lives. So a lot of guys that are smart asses will be like, well, why don't we remember other lives? Well, it's because there's soul amnesia, and that it makes so much sense. And
that dampens free will. If I knew everything from my past life, I don't. Then essentially takes all the power.
You would have you'd have a checkoff list and go, and it'd be insincere.
I'm gonna be the best soul ever.
I gotta come down here and do this and do that. Check it off. Okay, I'm done.
yeah, exactly. So based off of the list of lessons you have to learn, you choose your vessel. A human can learn a shit ton of things, clearly, because it's one of the hardest vessels to be had. But planet Earth is very difficult to live on because of the soul amnesia. If you really think about the species of humans, we are literally born on a planet where we have to buy everything that is required to survive. And we are not handing out water. We still pay for our utility water bill. Like there's not even a portion of water that's free to live off of, and then anything after that we pay for. So it's literally, if you think about the actual species of humans in which a soul is experiencing, is hard as shit.
Right.
So we already have it going against us. So we literally, we're never guaranteed a single damn thing. So then why do we put so much expectation and pressure on having whatever we feel like we missed out on?
For sure.
This is so important for those that are lost because they're angry, they're resentful, they're going to go to suicide, or they're going to go to drugs, they're going to go to drinking, they're going to go to places that will give them this artificial feeling of acceptance. Because in that very moment, they feel understood, because that to them is what's making them feel okay, safe, and at peace with whatever shit's going on. All due to the lack of understanding the spirituality side of things. Because if the only spirituality side thing that they know is that super crazy religious person who is trying to shove it down their throat. And so here we are talking to those that are maybe lost, or talking to those who have maybe experienced suicide. Like, this is like, to me, it's fun to like learn, and like there's wow factors with mediumship, and but there's people out there that need to hear this kind of stuff. There's people out there that need to listen and understand. But then there's people, there are spiritual workers, there's light workers who are empaths. You guys have to understand, in the late 80s, early 90s, Dolores Cannon, she talks about this. And now I get it, because now I'm living this life. She says, planet Earth was in a cry for help, and they sent out for all the souls who could land on Earth and help it change. So they call it the New World, right? Like, you guys could probably be familiar with this.
Yeah.
So the New World, right? We're shifting into this new world. And from that, though, souls entered the planet in the late 80s, early 90s. So if you're between the age of 25 and 35, you're going to have an influx of anxiety, spiritual connection, and you're going to be so empathic at times that you're going to be able to know shit before it happens. You're going to be able to have spiritual connection like nobody's business. And I'm going to promise you 90% of that age group is generational pivots, baby, because we're here to change the world. Every single person at the age of 25 to 35 minimum, on an average, is going through this new world change. They're going through this spiritual awakening. They're going through this realignment with trying to understand their parents and why they never understood them, or why they were a parent to them, or why they got abused, or why they had to go through all the BS. It's so that way we can start the new world by releasing and resetting. I'm here to remind those souls that forgot about their purpose and reason of being here. And that's a big reason, because I've gone through it myself. That's the purpose of being here, is to change the world, because souls, listen, we're just going through until we pass back over. That's it. So like we're constantly trying to evolve the universes, and we landed on Earth right now in this timeline, in your world right now, your reality. You're asking what the purpose is, because you're human and you're in the 3 dimension and you're at a lower vibrational state of being. But if your soul was at a forefront of that, you wouldn't be asking, because then you would understand that the purpose at the end of the day would be to enjoy every moment, good or bad, and to embrace whatever's happening in front of us, because then we've truly surrendered that our spirit guides and our loved ones, our gods and angels, are guiding us every moment. But oftentimes we always feel alone. We feel alone.
Yep.
And so the purpose is to sometimes find who you are. Your purpose changes. Your purpose pivots based off of that free will, because you 1000% can choose to pull the plug and say, screw my purpose. I don't care about that anymore. I'm tired and I want to start over. And I want to say, unfortunately, for the people that are watching, some of you might have experienced that. And I always try to make a note to just anytime I get the chance to speak to any group of people, small or big, to acknowledge this point of the spiritual journey. If you guys are listening and if you know somebody who's lost their life to taking their life early, I'm here to tell you, thousands of souls have come to me and they've all said the same. Their souls went through an extended life review. That's it. They didn't go to hell.
Right. Yeah, and we're taught that. I mean, my wife's father committed suicide, and the first thing she asked the preacher, and she's just a 10-year-old little girl, and she said, "Well, do you think my daddy is in hell?" And he goes, "Well, according to the Bible, that's probably where he's at because he took his own life." And I thought, what a horrible thing to say, to a child or to anybody.
So that's probably why I'm talking about it, because I always am led to talk about things that we need to hear. I have trusted spirit enough to know that I'm here to just be the microphone. I'm a telephone. That's all what mediums are. We're just in between the information. But I was going to say, so with a soul that chose a life with a lot of lessons to be had, too many, if you will, with a template of living that may not be, what's it called? Like where it's suited for those lessons, it contradicts itself, and that creates an overwhelming sensation, and that creates mental health problems because it's parallel to the brain. So we have human and we have soul. And when we have the human vessel who has to maybe deal with emotions on their own because they weren't taught how to, they curate a reality that doesn't exist in their mind, all for survival purposes based off of their parents' decisions and choices. They then learn how to live life very individually, and they become angry and resentful. They create walls and boundaries and trust issues. Then they hit a point in their adult life where they think that all that's behind them and they've built everything in their life, and they've probably gone through some coping mechanisms, whether that's drinking or drugs or other things like maybe porn or addiction like sex. And then from that, they become different after they get married or have children. They even become probably toxic in a relationship, go through a divorce. And then they hit a certain point in their life, I call it a checkpoint, where you really ask yourself, who am I, where am I going, and why is this important? What's the purpose? You start to change, you start to pivot, you start to curate a different way of living. You start to change the response mechanisms because the ones you were built in don't go well anymore with the life you want to live. So you start to change, you start to pivot, right? Mm-hmm. People like that don't always get to that portion, and they take their lives early because they feel like they've missed the beat. They feel like they've missed the time, and their legacy or their memory that they're going to leave behind, they feel it's too late to correct it. That's what happens in the mind on a spiritual level. And then sometimes they just take their life because they feel inadequate, not because their loved ones did that, but because that was their experience from the beginning. So oftentimes I tell people all the time, you cannot feel the burden or guilt thinking you could have prevented something that started the day of birth, because it wasn't your job to correct that rhythm or pattern. It was theirs. But you have to choose to be spiritually awoke and unravel, to understand certain parts of your life for you to even get to the place of what you longed for, which is peace. You can't have peace and anger. You can't have peace and resentment. So you then have to deal with all of that. And that's why mental health is so important. Yes, Absolutely. It parallels. That's why it parallels. But there's two separate things, because you can still take care of this, but still feel very lost.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, my God. Well, I think one really important thing. Sorry, I'm like over here taking deep breaths because this is our jam, Brandon. You know what I mean? Like we cover a lot of topics, and me and Keith talk about it a lot. It always kind of comes back to the same damn questions we have every topic we cover, right? But even like when we talk about aliens,
Yeah.
the things we manifest. But you said something earlier before the show came on that kind of made sense. We were talking about fear, right? And Carl Johnson talks about how we manifest fear all the time, right? And we were talking about the bite mark. Can we go over that again for our listeners? Because for me, when you were explaining that to Keith, that's when my mind started to really open. Oh man, I see where this conversation is going to go. Like that really made sense to me. Someone that's still changing diapers, right? We talk about that a lot, life gets in the way, but can we talk about that really fast? Because we're talking about David Oman's house to our listeners, right?
Yeah. I'll just share with the listeners. So you guys who watched last week, David Oman, who lives by the Sharon Tate murder spot, invited us to come to his house to do a live show in Beverly Hills. And I thought, yeah, that'd be an awesome thing to do. It'd be fun. I was talking to Brandon a little bit, but as you guys already know my story, like I had stuff happen to me since I was about 15 years old. I mean, everywhere I moved, I had a spirit, something weird would happen. And I just got to the point where no more of it. That even if I hear something in the house that I think it's evil or something, I shouldn't think that. I just ignore it and I move on with my day. And the more I do that, the more that goes away.
So you didn't want to bring this thing back.
My fear was going to his house because he's on all these national TV shows, and there's always like stuff, like he has a little Beetlejuice guy on his chimney, and it completely jumps off there all the time. And that's not a scary thing, but I mean, he just has weird things. And so my thing was, as you guys know me, I don't want to bring anything back with me. So we were chatting with Brandon a little bit about that.
And you mentioned, okay, well, go ahead, Brandon, please tell us about the fear part of that about because I was the one that was like, I'm not going unless Brandon and D. McMurray go. Yeah, I was also fearful. I was like, this shit's gonna follow Keith.
Yeah, we'll buy your ticket to Beverly Hills. Okay.
Okay, so because you were like, guys, stop. You can definitely go in the house. So will you please enlighten our.
So, okay. And I'm just speaking from my experience, right? Like from
right.
And I learn every day. And so, there's always information and there's always somebody that has to say something about something. Right. And so this is just kind of my take on stuff. So, in my experience from watching other mediums and other spiritual workers, whether they're past life regressionists or other like, spiritual therapists, oftentimes those souls are locked in a space that they can't get out, because when you pass over, you guys, you have free will still.
Yes, I believe that. Totally.
I do too.
You have the ability of not hitting the light. And you know what happens when you hit the light? You remember everything. You remember your lives. You remember the reasons. You remember everything. So if you don't hit that light, and if your soul crosses over and you're in between, not limbo, not, you're like at the mall and you just realize that you should be at Walmart. It's like, okay, well, crap, how do I get out of this mall? And you don't have a map and you're just constantly trying to, oh my gosh, that's all that is. It's just, you're just in a different place of the fifth dimension. That's just where we go when we die. And the veil is also 3 feet away. And when you die, you cross to the side. You don't go up or down. You go to the side. That's why we can still feel them and hear them. And oftentimes when you see people connect, like if you ever watch my videos and you can see me look down. I'm looking down because I'm listening up because they're here. Because they're here. So anyway, I can tell like they're trying to get me to talk about every little thing all in between little holes. So the reality in which we live in is based off of our mind and how we perceive things. So you said it yourself, the moment you stopped ignoring it, it
stopped. Yeah.
So that was your reality. So what's happening is the soul, because I can sit here and I can curate a fear that someone's going to walk in my front door right now because of somebody else's experience.
Right.
The only reason
I watch the ID channel. I get it.
Right. Yeah. So it's one of those things where we just need to know that the reality of which we experience is all based off of our upbringing and our own personal experiences. But what's happening is that souls that don't cross over, they get frustrated and they're just trying to get somebody's attention. And the only way to get somebody's attention sometimes with the human on earth is to grab them or to do some sort of physical something. But we are taught in movies that it's demonic and dark and things. And I'm not saying that the intention behind it as a human, you feel as though it should be harmful. And you can ask for that not to happen, because you can actually say, if you're trying to get my attention with a good intention behind it, do this. Flicker the damn light, or show me in a dream. Like, if you want to communicate, just ask them how you would like to receive that communication. Just as simply as you said, I don't want to see it, or I don't want to feel it, or I don't want to experience it anymore, and it happened. You create your reality, and that's the most beautiful part about Earth. It's you want to move, you get to move. You want to buy a new car, you figure that out. And so the same thing happens in the spiritual realm, because you're a soul.
Yeah, it's all an intention, I think. What's your intention? If I want to believe, if I want to be scared, like even ghost hunters or paranormal, whatever they call them, paranormal investigators, if you look for something, you're going to find it eventually, because your intention is to, and even if it's like, oh, this is going to be scary, then we're looking for something evil, you're going to attract that. You're going to find that.
And the common denominator with all negative connotation with spirit is that it's just trying to use their power to get people away or move in a direction that the humans don't want to do.
What do you think about possession? What is that exactly?
I don't know. That I don't know. I'm the first to say something if I don't know, or if I've had no experience behind that. I have no reading up on that. I know nothing.
Because we've had a priest on who talked about exorcist, and so it's very real. And this spirit was talking in Latin. It was talking in different languages. This kid had no idea how to speak all these languages. And I myself do not want to believe that evil force has that kind of, especially a child, to take over a child's body to express its evil thoughts or whatever. I just think, is a mental, I try to think, well, maybe it's mental illness, but it couldn't be if they're speaking different languages. So that's always puzzled me a little bit.
See, the only experience of those types of things are movies. So I've yet to see a real one.
Right.
For sure.
But I would love to experience some sort of spiritual.
So are you saying that these stories that we hear from some of these Catholic priests are not true?
Am I saying that they're not true?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I want to.
You haven't experienced them?
But
I don't think they're true. No, I'm not saying that. For me to say anything, I've only experienced movies. So that's what I'm saying. I would love, if I ever had the opportunity, I would never do one, nor would I participate. But if I could watch and just kind of experience something that I haven't before,
that energy.
I'm all about that. But that's what I'm saying is there's good and bad in all things. You look at Oklahoma City, you know exactly where to go to find bad souls.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
What about this, Brandon? What about priests have it in their mind? Let's say that they're contacted. Hey, my child's doing all this weird stuff. They go there with the intention, maybe thinking this is demonic. Do they manifest that because of their belief system? And it does become a demonic type. I'm not saying it's actually demonic, but I'm saying they manifested this evil thing by believing it to be so.
So those questions are definitely in an area that definitely includes other content outside of my scope, because with that, I feel as though there could be, and I'm not saying that that's not valid, but there very well could be other things that because we just said that we have the ability of curating our reality.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say that that's what's happening, because I believe everything is possible. Because if you told me last January that I'm a medium and I can connect and see the thing, I wouldn't believe you. And now I believe everything. I believe unicorns exist. I believe,
I've been saying since we started the show, man. I believe in Bigfoots now. I'm like, what in the world?
I believe
and
in
please,
all-
and please know, Brandon, when I was asking you a second ago about do you think a priest is lying, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot or anything. I was just thinking. I know you said you have to see it to believe it.
I get what you're saying because
yeah, and I wasn't trying
what
to
you're
put him.
saying too is like we watch popular culture,
Right.
These things are out there, and
Yeah, but and that's the thing. They believe it, so therefore it exists.
I see your point because, and I also like it all makes sense. It's also intertwined. That's what's interesting because I mean, think if I was born out in the middle of somewhere in Oklahoma and never left the ranch, had everything I needed, and had never seen anything, right? My scope of what I can understand and produce in my mind would just be that.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying. Like it goes back to the holy water thing, right? If you have 1 million people putting their energy into something and then believing it, what's to say that can't be manifested? Just like a freaking unicorn and Bigfoot.
Yeah, they proved that with three glasses of water. They screamed at one glass of water and called it dirty names. They blessed the other water, prayed on it. Then they had a neutral water. They actually tested the water that they prayed over, and it was like very pure. Everything was great. The water that they screamed at and cursed at actually had bacteria and things like that in it. So it does show how, it shows how it shows how powerful we are. We are creators. We can create.
You always say that we're creators.
Yes.
Hey,
I mean, it took me forever to learn that, but
hey, I'm gonna say something real fast, and I guarantee you, Brandon, like, because remember the baseball card thing?
Yes.
When he called me out,
when
he probably doesn't remember that. He's done like 5,000 readings, but you blew my mind, and I'll tell you about it later. But the first thing I wrote down, and he probably knows because he can read my mind, is he mentioned planets. I know you can read my mind, but dude, earlier when we were having this conversation before the show, you're like explaining this stuff. It's all making sense, and you're like, oh my god, there's like planets. There's other planets. So what is that? Like you mentioned that in passing and never circled back around. What the hell are you talking about? There's other planets because we've had that conversation a lot. Right?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, and of course, we want to know is their life.
It?
I mean, because we've had guests on the show that says, oh, absolutely, there's a higher beings of higher spirituality that live at different planets or whatever. And so they may not look like this. They may look like us. They don't know. But
he just breezes.
There seems to be a hierarchy in spiritualism, I guess, like one's higher than the other,
Right.
And then I've had people go, well, hey, man, I thought everybody was created equal. So why is there a hierarchy? Why is that guy better than me? Because
on the other planet,
and it's because, like Brandon was saying, we're learning as we go. So that makes a lot of sense.
So why did you mention the other planets?
So basically, yeah, I mean, within the studies that we've been able to do with past life regressions, which are souls that are able to go back in other portions of their timelines and experience different ways of living, they've been able to actually express and explain in great detail about other planets and other universes as far as other vessels that are available for souls to take shape in. And so if you're curious by this and if you're listening, Michael Newton is an author and Dolores Cannon are both two people to look into that have studies and things. And then in my own experiences, even just the other day, I had a timeline jump where the husband in the reading had experienced a timeline jump without even understanding what had happened.
Ooh,
wow.
So if you have a couple minutes, I'll share it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't leave us hanging on that.
I know. I have stories for days. So unfortunately, this mom and dad, so I actually I shouldn't say that. Never mind. Wait. Okay. So I did a reading for somebody several months ago, and it was for it was this woman and her husband, and then her niece and nephew came through, and they were of the ages of like 5 and 8, and they had accidentally died in a house fire. And so from that experience, I offered them to tell their parents that I would love to just talk to them on my time, whatever, no big deal. So then I went in their reading. It was so interesting because, of course, all the things that were coming through made sense and things. And then there was a portion of the reading that was very different for me because they had shown me that they were entering a second part of their life, a second life. And they just went, we say that all the time. Like we say that we're entering another second part because they lost their boy and daughter or their son and daughter. And then they So the son was first. And so then they had another son after they died. And they kept showing me that they were going to have a girl baby. And I'm not as like, I don't claim to be like that kind of a psychic, because to me, that's not what I want to do. That's not my intention or purpose, is to tell someone they're going to have a girl baby.
That's
but
like
I
do or something.
Yeah.
I do if souls come through and acknowledge some sort of signs and symbols that I understand, if it provides some sort of potential hope, I will say, hey, I'm not here to guarantee anything, but I am here to tell you that they're in the works, and it looks like there's like a baby girl. So wow. I don't know if this is going to be in your orbit or somebody else's orbit, but and then they were like, we're really wanting a girl, like we're really wanting another girl. And so it's one of those things where I can at least give them what's connected on their soul dashboard to at least let them know about what's going on, without being that psychic that says, you should expect this. Because I don't want to be a bullshitter. Like, that's not
right.
So then I said, but they're giving me that you had a dream of this baby. And the dad said, yes, I did have a dream of what our baby could look like, with my daughter, though, who's deceased. In my dream, it was the deceased daughter with what could have been our new daughter. And they had a miscarriage like earlier on, and he thought it was that. And I said, they're telling me that you dimension time hopped, and that you're able to see what it would look like with your daughter in spirit, seeing your baby daughter when you have her.
Oh, okay.
And so what they did to me was they did this, like he was able to look through some sort of veil and see this imagery, which was just foreshadowing, which humans call it deja vu.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Deja vu, you guys have to understand, deja vu happens because your soul leaves your body at night, because your souls don't need sleep. And you're tethered to your higher self, which is in soul land. And your soul is actually in other dimensions and timelines, actually executing similar, if not the same life, in different ways, in different versions. And then you're actually, based off free will, you're making different decisions and choices tethered to other experiences that you're having, that you're able to experience by your soul, leaving your body in the evening or whenever you sleep. And that way you're able to then have moments like deja vu. Because deja vu is a checkpoint where you're like, okay, I've seen this before. You've seen this before because you've timeline hopped. You've taken a look into a different portion of what could be your life, and then you're making a choice based off of what the other choice was. So say you may be going through something very pivotal in your life where your decisions are being delayed. Maybe you're with a toxic relationship, and for years you're asking yourself, I should leave. And what's happening in that duration of time of deciding is that your soul is actually experiencing another portion of your life, and it can see and be reminded of maybe how unhappy you are and what life would be like if you stayed. That's why in that timeline you choose to leave.
Wow. That's some string theory shit.
Yeah, that's great.
That's all. It's like some string theory shit.
And so there's other things that, and so that's what all of these past life regressions are, and that's even the information I'm getting to my own experiences and in my own practice. If anything else, it doesn't try to rob me from religion. Okay, so if you're religious, it doesn't rob us from that, because you still have the umbrella of God, understanding that we're all connected and everything happens for a true divine reason, and that we are truly being guided by other entities. Whatever you call them, it doesn't matter. Based off of your reality, that is who is doing it.
Wow. Bam.
Crazy, man. I love it. It makes sense though, because we talk a lot of obviously not exactly this, right? But how insignificant it seems sometimes, right? Yeah. And we talk about true crime, Brandon, a lot, right? Cool. I mean, but every time it comes back to this kind of idea that you're giving us, right? Is like everything seems so connected, and it's just mind blowing. Thank you for putting it into words.
Yeah, that's great.
The biggest things that I get asked all the time, because this is where everyone goes, is because mostly everyone's angry. Why do bad things have to happen? Why do bad things have to happen to good people? Why do children have to die young, right?
Right.
So first of all, this is a sensitive topic, right? Like, you know, there's no way of talking about these things without sounding like not sensitive, right? Like, but I'm going to do my best to be sensitive. I'm going to do my best to approach this in a very sensitive heart. I've channeled hundreds of children of soul, you know, souls of hundreds of children. And I've talked to tons of parents, and I've talked to a lot of tragic type of situations. So when I started my practice, I would always cry. Like, I was always emotional behind every reading because I was so tethered to human emotion that I wasn't quite there yet. In fact, if I'm being honest, I started doing readings, I think, too soon because I wasn't untethered from human emotions all the way to where I can understand from a soul's perspective when they're trying to give me gratitude behind a freaking car accident by getting thrown out the windshield. They were instantly taken, and they're showing me gratitude.
Right.
Yeah.
How? Why are you grateful that you literally flew out a windshield and you died at the scene? Why are you grateful? And they'll always tell me that there wasn't a burden to be had, or the family didn't have to make a choice, or that there wasn't any kind of longing of dying or passing. It was just a simple, sweet, a very easy way out.
Yes.
And so for me, channeling that energy, how do I cry for them? How do I get emotional? How do I get sad? Especially when a soul who lived earthside, very lost, confused, misunderstood, is showing me clarity and happy and love and all of the understanding in the world. How can I cry for them?
Right.
I cry for the people in front of me. I cry because I feel their soul and I feel their pain. So when I cry now, it's not because I feel the loss of the soul. I feel the loss of what life used to be like for that person in front of me. And usually on earth, because that pain with that grief is like any other, you know, not like any other. I mean, and it's like, I can't relate on the level of pain that they feel, but I can totally try to help connect and try to give a different explanation or try to change the narrative as far as why a soul has to go through those things in my readings. But primarily because that's one of the actual best ways that a soul wants to depart, because there's no prolonging. You have to understand that when a soul goes through, okay, wait, my guides are like, well, you didn't answer the question. Why do things have to happen? It's because the journey of every soul has something that ripples. The domino effect has everything to do with everything. The magnitude of the pain that we think a soul experiences is never accurate. It will never hurt to enter the planet, and it will never hurt to leave the planet. You really have to surrender to that. The souls that lose their life through illness are going to be souls that really need that experience with the family and the loved ones as far as connecting, maybe things that weren't said, maybe parts of a relationship that needed to be fixed. Maybe there was a distance in the relationship, and then all of a sudden in your 40s, you got closer to your dad, and then in your 50s, he died of cancer, and you were able to be there. You're able to experience certain parts of what your life needs in this timeline based off of how people pass over. That's my mom. Sometimes we have to remember that there's reasons more than we can even understand as humans as far as why people go through them, but it's not to experience pain or suffering, because as a professional medium, souls always say they've never experienced any kind of pain. Even if you've curated the reality of the pain, it never existed.
Wow. So let me ask you, so if a child passes away, you said children will come to you. Are they children on the other side, or are they full? I mean, is it a developed spirit who came down? You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, are they still children on the other side, or are they appearing as children to identify with their parents? So that's what I would think.
So because, okay, you have to remember reincarnation. If you are on that track of mind, thoughts, okay, because I got to approach it like that. Your soul encompasses thousands of lifetimes. So when a child passes over, it can show up to me however it wants to be identified as.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
That was kind of a dumb question now I think about it.
No, that is not, there's no such thing, first of all, as a dumb question. But people ask that. Because you know what? It gets confusing for a medium when your grandma died at 98 and she shows up to me as 55.
Right.
Because
Right.
soul is going to show up where they felt prime, loved, healthy, and energy. You want to know that she's doing great. So if I'm like, was she young, like 55? And you're like, no, she was 99. That can't be her. Well, no, you have to understand. You want to know that she's fine and she shows up to me fine, but fine to her is 55.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to think of it that way. You can't think about it as in they die and show up to me the day that, like the day you remember them as that last second. That's not at all how it goes.
Right.
No, not
Right.
at all. And if you really want to know level 40 of soul land, a soul takes shape in whatever it's supposed to based off of your comfort and peace.
Got it. That makes sense.
If you need to
Oh, wow.
see somebody to understand the peace surrounding passing over so you can take initiative over that free will and cross, you have to know souls have showed this to me. They've crossed over, they've looked, they've seen vignettes of their family, like little bubbles of memory, and then they look to the right. It just happened the other day. I said, your son's soul shows me he didn't hit 17. She says 16. He was 16. I said, he makes me feel like the moment he got his license and the moment that he was able to just have freedom, he died. Was it a car accident? And she said, yes, it was. And he just got his license and he just went to lunch on his first week of getting it and he died. It was a school day. And I said, he shows me that when he died, he shows me these bubbles of memories of like he saw you and his dad and all these people in his life. And then he looked to his right and there was a woman that he's never met before, a grandma. So he had to have been born before one of your grandmas were born or that passed before he was born, because he's making me feel like he never met her, but had peace surrounding her energy, like she was comforting him. And he said, yes, my grandma died before he was born. And that was the only one. And I said, that is who he's talking about, because he didn't know in that split second if he wanted to pass over, but all of that peace and love and serenity took over and he knew exactly what to do in that moment. And he took advantage of that free will and did what he was supposed to do. The souls that aren't completely strong will not choose to do that. So, and it's not that it's just like they get that understanding. They get to see that glimpse of like, there's a reason why I'm here. And then times where you almost die and you get to have that experience, you get to see what you need to be reminded of in what's framing your success. If you need to see Jesus, you're going to see Jesus. If you're going to see Buddha, you're going to see Buddha. If you're going to see your mom that you've been longing to see for in your dreams that you can't seem to dream, and you just can't seem to understand why your parent had to pass or your child had to pass, and then you're on the verge of suicide or you accidentally overdose or try to take medication and you're on the verge of passing and you see that light and they're saying it's not your time, I'm going to promise you that you're going to see somebody in spirit that's going to remind you of, we're over here for a reason and you're over there for a reason. Now get your ass back over there. And then you're going to wake up and then you're going to be like, damn it. All right. Let me get my shit together.
Well, that
shit is everywhere.
Yeah.
You know? That's everywhere. So you guys have to connect to all that because they're having me talk about that kind of stuff.
Well, that's crazy because we just did a series on NDEs, near-death experiences. It's something that we're very passionate about. We've done quite a few shows on it, and we've had guests. And I mean, it's a lingering question, right? Because every single person's experience is vastly different.
But sometimes similar.
Right. It's sometimes similar, too.
Because you see what you have to within the reality that you believe.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
We've talked about that. Like we said, if you're a Christian, you die, you're probably going to see Jesus. So whatever religion that you believe in, whoever that is, that's the experience you shall have.
So that's real.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. So it's one of those things. It's like, cool, that's real. It's like, that is how you surrender. You can't say, what a theory. I'm not saying you guys. I'm just saying for me.
Right.
Like, because if I keep holding on to the what else is there or what else could it be, I can't surrender. Like,
for sure.
It's like for people who are lost and confused, I'm talking to them because we're so okay. Because listen, I was so spiraled in religion like I had a lot of conviction to let go. Because I was taught that what I do for a living is very dark and demonic. And you know what, you guys? You know how many people I have saved out of suicide? You know how many people I have been able to just touch in a way that only spirit can allow? I'm like, that's not demonic.
No,
There's
not
no
at all.
is demonic. So if I'm able to connect, and if I'm able to actually have great intentions behind spiritually connected, so can anybody, because I'm just like everybody else. And I tell people all the time, I'm really an idiot. The only reason why I know this stuff is because spirits put it on my heart. When you're in church and you're talked to from a pastor, or if you go to a random person in church and you're like, this was put on my heart, that's what this is. It's all the same.
For sure.
Right.
And it's so cool. Spirit's amazing.
It is so cool.
Well, do you want to do a few readings for us?
Yeah, I could do like 3.
Okay, we're gonna do. So if you're out there, I'm gonna put the link in the chat here.
Well, I'm not gonna sleep tonight. I'll be up all night. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was amazing,
I'll be
Brandon.
up
By the
all-
way,
my wheels will be turning all night. Thank you.
A lot,
and then
you know, yeah, and I started a class. It's called Spiritual Awakening with Brandon Burton.
And then
I'm in it right now, and it's a 6 series. They're 2-hour, like 90-minute to 2-hour sessions, and it's virtual. But after, like, if you're listening, and if this intrigues you, and if you want more, and if you really want to understand the journey of souls, and based off of what I have learned, it will be available for purchase later on in this year or beginning of next. Because
hey, let me know. 'Cause I'm gonna promote the shit out of that.
yeah, we can.
I'm getting in it.
We'll advertise it on the
I'll
show.
be there. You see my
Oh.
face?
People see me because my hair is like, I mean, not that it's been an hour and 12 minutes. I guess it doesn't matter.
You look great.
You look fine, but so yeah, I had so many of my followers going, yeah, I want to read, and no one's clicked on yet, but I'm sure they will. But you remember, guys, he's only doing 3, so if you want to read him, get in.
Crazy.
Get in. I talked to a girl at work today. She said she's going to call in, or click on. So
Well, it's funny because my family won't call in because they're like, I want to leave room for the guests. Like my wife, my daughters, they're all like, oh,
Yeah.
call Brandon. And they're like, we'll let the guests call in, but I guarantee you, Cass starts to get in here soon.
So Brandon, how often? I mean, how much do we reincarnate? I mean, when does it become a point where we're going, okay, enough? I learned enough.
So when your soul goes through every stage where it belongs, so okay, so we all have soul families, right? And so whenever you pass, you go back to that age group unless you've aged enough in this lifetime to enter into the next age group. And so then from that, you're able to then stop reincarnating when you're at the end, whenever you're done going through all the planets and universes and everything. Then you become a spirit guide. That way you can guide people on those specific things. That's why you've got to get to a place with your soul that doesn't have to reincarnate. And in order for you to no longer having to reincarnate, you have to wash away your karma. And your karma is washed away every lifetime so in this lifetime, if you're the abuser, in the next lifetime, you're the abusee. But that's with everything. If you in this lifetime, if you're prejudiced towards something, the next lifetime, you are that. So you have to cycle back through and reincarnate a bajillion times with an average of frequency 50 to 100 human years, unless otherwise noted or other circumstances, because circumstances are like if you lost a child at a younger age, for your soul to learn a specific lesson, and based off of your free will and how you handled certain circumstances, you may be gifted another opportunity, but at a different time in your timeline. And it all also depends on the purpose of which that soul needs to execute that purpose on earth. Say, for example, you are someone, I'm going to say you know someone who is going through an issue in their life where they're trying to have a baby.
Right.
And they're just really going and they're trying and they're doing all the things. What we're not thinking about at the same time with finding peace with understanding is you want to have a baby, but that baby is going to have a purpose. And in order for that purpose to be fulfilled, it has to hit a certain age. So in order for that baby to hit its purpose at the age of 36, you have to have that baby in the year of 2036 or whatever year.
Right.
You are then taking control of the journey in which your guides and loved ones are already trying to take control of. So then they step back, you run into problems until you say, all right, God, I'm here and I'm listening, and you surrender. And then your loved ones, angels, and all of them come back in and say, we've been trying. We've just been watching you take this extra road.
God, and it's so funny you use the word surrender. It's almost like you read my mind, because about 4 weeks ago, that's when I started saying, God, I surrender. I'm going to, I surrender. So you're using that word. That's something that means a lot to me, actually. All right, we have Sassy Sandy. How are you?
Hi, good. How you going?
I'm doing great. And this is Brandon, and Brandon, you go right ahead.
Hi, Brandon.
Hi. So you're Sandy?
Yeah, that's right. And I'm Sassy.
And you're
That's
Sassy.
what I like to say. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where are you listening from? I love the way you speak. Your accent's beautiful.
Oh, Australia.
Of
So
course.
Melbourne, Australia. Yeah. Good old Aussie accent.
Of course you're all into the spiritual stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm stuck in Oklahoma, so it's very, very different here. Cool, very neat. Well, they're immediately going all over my chest, and so my heart's pounding like a nail. So I don't know if somebody had a heart attack or passed from the heart, chest, or lungs. 1 second, though. It's so interesting. I feel mom, and then I feel someone that's like a father energy as well. Is it safe to say both your parents are in spirit, or just your mom?
No, just my dad.
Your dad. That's why I feel. Okay, the father. So then who's this?
My mum still with us. Yeah.
Grandmother. Then it has to be a grandmother.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it mom's side?
Both, really, because
Yeah.
like Dad was 86 when he died, and Mum's 83. So, yeah.
Okay, so there's this maternal, then motherly energy, grandmother-like energy, and I felt father-like energy as well. So,
What's Dad got to say?
Yeah, 1 second. So there's something different about your soul, as I'm connected to his. Would he not really be into this? Would he not really think that this was legit or real?
No way, no.
Yeah, so he wouldn't think that this was real. Is that correct?
No, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Okay, because he's like, first of all, he's like, he doesn't come across very emotional. So I don't know if he wasn't like quick to like talk about his emotions, or talk about love, or talk about affection, or talk about care. Does that track for you?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Listen, he keeps talking about distance with either location and or communication. Do you understand that? Where you guys aren't always on the same terms?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, we're on good terms, but on different wavelengths, if you know what I mean.
Hey, listen, I started talking like you. That's funny. I'm sure that happens all the time with those silly Americans that just think that like you guys are people, which you are.
Good day, mate.
So your father energy is very much with me right now, because he's taken accountability of a lot of choices and decisions, and really wishing that he would have taken some things seriously. But more importantly, he wishes that he would have said, I love you more, and understood you more, and really allowed himself to really get to know you better. Because there's a lot of walls up with him as far as his upbringing, which of course it's like an era generation thing that we, goes without being said. But there's a lot of like surrendering with you and controlling, with understanding why you've gone through the things you've gone through, and really letting go. Similar things in which we were talking about earlier. I really feel like you've gone through a spiritual awakening and really kind of awoken to yourself as far as your value, your worth. But do you have grandchildren? Do you have grandchildren?
No grandchildren, just one child.
Okay.
But she's an adult, yeah.
Oh, so he's talking about his grandchild.
Oh, his grandchild, yeah, that's my daughter. Yeah.
Okay. Are you also the only child?
No, I have 2 siblings.
Okay, 1 second, because he keeps talking about a baby born after he died. So is this him? Is he talking about a baby being born after? Did one of them have a
Yes, they do. They have one has 2 grandchildren. Yeah.
So he's actually then acknowledging his grandchildren, but these were born after he died. Is that correct?
No, they're his great grandchildren. So
what
my
if-
sister has grandchildren.
so anytime a soul addresses a child born after they've passed, would any of those children be born after he was passed?
Yes.
That's what he's trying. One
Yeah.
grandchild. That's what he keeps saying. He's saying grandchild born after I died. So he's trying to acknowledge that he's around and he knows about the lives that we're living and the way we're parenting. And he does make me feel. So is he connected to the drinking though, the alcohol? Who is that?
Oh. Kind of, but not really excessively or anything. But he used to like to have a drink, but then he stopped because of his health.
So okay, because anytime they show me the liver, it's tetherment to liquor, and so if it's even further down to even just acknowledging the way that maybe he tried to repivot and take things a little more seriously than what he probably used to before, it's just acknowledging. Gosh, why is he giving me? So there's like. So where does the separate? It's like I'm getting married for a long time and then I'm getting separation. So I don't understand that.
Well, they were separated when he died, but also Mum got dementia, and although they still lived together until he passed, I guess it's kind of a separation from her, because I feel that way. I've still got her, but I don't have my mum. You know what I mean? So.
Got it.
Yeah.
So once again, though, are there thoughts about the home or thoughts about a facility, or is she in the facility?
Yes, she's in a facility now. Yeah.
He's talking about facility. So she took care of him. That's what you said?
No, more so he was taking care of her, like with her dementia issues. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. 17. Do you understand the number 17? 17.
I do.
How do you understand the number 17?
Well, again, that's my sister's birth date. If that's coming from Dad, that would probably be that. Although it was the death date of my maternal grandmother.
That's it.
And my sister was born 1 year to the day after, like on her anniversary. So, yeah.
So, because your grandmother's soul is a lot different than your dad. Because a lot of
different family. Yeah.
But in the person, we're not even dealing with the same personality here.
No.
We're a completely different person because all of a sudden things just shifted. So was she the glue? Was she the glue to the family? Was she the interjector? Was she the one that was always giving her opinions, thoughts?
No, she died quite young.
There's an interview here that's giving me all of these opinions and all of these thoughts and really putting herself in front of me. So is this your other grandmother in spirit?
That would be my paternal grandmother, I'd say.
So you have to understand at the same time as I connect to your soul dashboard, I can start to kind of pick up on but there's a soul that's really making me feel like there's like we're being taught or being told. It's like she's getting on to your dad. It's almost as though like he's not leveled up, he didn't level up enough, or he's not doing enough, or he needs to do better. It's just like she's just being a mom. It's so funny.
Yeah, well, she would have thought that, but he was really good. So, but there was that critical type of relationship. So, yeah. So
then do you understand the heart, the pressure of the heart, chest or lungs? Did someone pass from the heart? And did kidney or failure? Because they're showing me kidney.
Yeah, well, Dad had a heart attack, which created a clot that, like 3 months later, killed him because it moved through his body and got into his organs and, I guess, the kidney and also into his leg. So it stopped the blood circulation. Yeah. Mm.
So,
But I'd be happy to hear. Oh, sorry. I was going to say I'd be happy to hear what my grandmother is telling me to do, or my dad, any of them.
it's like they're just picking up something and moving forward, picking up things and just going, picking up and moving. Okay, 1 second. Are you going through some sort of like this is so general, but that's what they're giving me, like so they picked it up, they picked up some boxes and they just started to move forward, and then they're putting me kind of in this weird little trench, and I'm just like decisions and choices, but then I don't know if this is occupation or not, but I feel very, very in between.
Yeah, no, I don't work, and I like suffer from mental illnesses in depression, anxiety, a bit of agoraphobia, so getting out of the house is a challenge.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, they're changing my environment. They're changing my situation. They're trying to change. They're trying to move these boxes out of my way so I can then further. So you have to know, like, from that. So they're saying though. So do you have visitations and do you see them? Whether they're in your dreams or whether you're daydreaming and you have like visions or like things in like your mind's eye, do you feel them, see them? Because they're saying your instinct, trust your ability of knowing.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like at times I have something here, but I wouldn't identify it as knowing who.
Do you have a dog earth side?
A dog. What?
Or do you have a dog that's alive? Earth side, sorry.
A dog, yes.
Because they're saying that they get barked at whenever they get visited or when they're visiting. And so as you're telling me that you're unsure of someone around you, I'm hearing we're getting barked at. So it's just my cue to say that they're around a dog, regardless of the barking or not.
Okay.
But are you separated too?
I'm single.
Okay, because I feel alone. Like I feel very alone, and I feel like I'm having to really kind of figure things out on my own and kind of curate my own way of living. So I don't know if you have like, because they're showing me kind of like these little like in between of things of like of just like natural ways of doing things that stop you from either being triggered or stopping you from either getting like bad episodes. But are you trying to go more holistic? Because they keep showing me like crystals and things like that. So I don't know what that means. And are you also trying to get off of some medication? Like because they put some medications in front of me and they took out one and then they put them together. So are you is either one of them not working as like they used to, or are you trying to reconsolidate your medications?
I'm on so many that I would like to reduce some of them, but I'm not currently doing that. So.
Oh, so you're asking for guidance as maybe how can you better off your mental health?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yep. Because that would help me. So yeah.
Are you drinking water? They showed me water.
I do, probably not as much as I should, but I do drink water.
So there's crystals and water and Reiki they're giving me for you. There's a lot of realignment within your spine. There's a lot of back. We're trying to.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you can open your crown chakra, or like, because they're showing me blockage here. So there's a lot here that could actually happen. Do you curate realities that don't exist? Like, are you allowing yourself, because they're saying you're robbing yourself from other people's spiritual journeys. So start trying to change the narrative. When this is what you do, this is secret sauce. When you start to hear what other people go through or what other people's experiences are, don't put yourself in that scenario, because it may add those emotions and add those scenarios and those made up images to then curate the fears that shouldn't even exist. But I understand that this is chemical and this is our brain. However, if we can start to just morph into the control of curating the reality that we want to live in, then maybe that will help subside some of our fears so we can move our boxes away and move forward. But they keep putting clutter away, and they keep adding green plants. So I don't know if like we need to just kind of, is your environment pretty well right now, or is it cluttered?
No. It's pretty organized. I'm a Virgo, so there you go. I mean, it could be tidier, but it's clean.
Good. So
It's green. I love my garden. I love getting out there and with my animals and things. So that does clear my head.
So that's probably their way of just telling me that you are quick then to declutter your life, and you do gravitate towards the plants or the natural ways of thinking. And then, of course, looking at and seeing sunshine and things. But were you thinking of a trip, though? Did you? I don't know. They're giving me a thought around a trip and really trying to see if I can make that work. So I don't know. Were you thinking of maybe I could go to this thing or do something like that? Like,
yeah, I'm supposed to be going away for 4 days later in the year, but I've just lately been stressing how am I going to get out of it. So, because I feel like it's too much for me.
The end of November?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to go. This is a test from your guides. So do you feel energetically pulled back from going, or do you feel like a block, like anxiety block?
Yeah, like physically it's an issue, but also mentally especially. Because physically isn't even real now, but I'm stressing mentally about it, like all the time. How do I get out of it? Because someone else has booked based on me going. So, yeah.
Say that last part again.
Well, someone else has booked based on me going. So it's not that easy to get out of it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But they're saying I should be going, so maybe I'll do it. I can always come back, I suppose.
So use this as an opportunity to change the narrative and try to work on things that define you and control you as far as the things that you are dealing with.
Yeah. I totally get what you're saying about taking on the emotions of other people, because I do, and I'm a good listener and people come to me and I empathize. But yeah, then I feel something regarding that, you know what I mean? So, and then I let it reiterate in my mind that my anxiety is right, because going out there and people.
So was your grandmother bedside when she passed? Who had the cancer?
No cancer.
She shows me bedside, and then she's making me sick head to toe. So was she bedside? Usually when they make me feel head to toe, it's cancer or a blood disease.
What's bedside?
Sorry, it's just okay. Like ill, dying of an illness, and then being laying on a bed, either with family there the moment it happened or the moment right before it happened.
Oh, that was my dad.
Okay, so someone shows me bedside, and he had the blood clot. Got it. Blood disease.
Yeah.
Got it. So because anytime they grab my arm and they put me to bedside, they're acknowledging the day of their passing, and he's just trying to acknowledge the peaceful passing. So I don't know if you were there or somebody was there, letting him go, letting him know that we're going to be okay. But was he incoherent? Did he not speak?
He was out of it. He was on so many painkillers and
because that's what he's trying to acknowledge and communicate. That he couldn't communicate acknowledging the peaceful passing. Now, does your mom talk about seeing spirit? Like, does she say that she sees people in her family that have passed, or get things all wadded up and confused with like people who are alive and not alive?
Oh, well, a little bit because of her dementia, but she has, no, she doesn't talk about people. much, because if she does see them or thinks she does, she's probably forgotten by the time I see her or whatever. But
Okay. So we should know if anyone's listening, because this is what they're having me talk about. Dementia in soul form is a gift to the soul to be able to get to a place of being able to get closer to the veil, to have more of a process of passing over. And that's why they start to be a version of themselves that we don't remember them being. And that's why they start to say things that they're saying. It's not because of the dementia. It's because their soul needs to experience what's happening. But because of the dementia, the soul is experiencing what they're experiencing. So why they're able to see it isn't because of dementia. It's because their soul now has the flexibility. So then now the soul is going to connect in ways that it couldn't before. So you must be in a place with just dementia with your mom where she's not your mom.
oh yes, yeah.
Because they're saying that it feels as though she's lost both her parents. And I'm going to tell you that that's probably why I picked up on both your parents in the beginning of your reading, because your soul identifies them both kind of not being here. So it's just one of those things where they're just trying to solidify the fact that whatever you choose to do with your mom is above all else your option and your prerogative. But do you feel like you're doing what you should be doing, but then all while balancing your own health and your own life, and you feel like there's not much you can do?
I do, but if I do get out, it's to go and see mum, because I believe she might not know, but she can still feel. And just me holding her hand or brushing her hair, it gives her something, I'm sure of it.
Because they're saying that you're doing enough, and you don't need to feel like you have to do more, because you're such in a place of life where she's being taken care of, and you just need to focus on your health. But 1 second.
Yeah, well, that is part of my health, because I don't go every day or anything. I go when I can, but it makes me feel good to see her, because she's still my mum, and just
So
she doesn't know that.
Have you been on
Sorry?
Ancestry? Have you been on Ancestry or found out information about your bloodline recently, or after your dad passed or somebody? Or is that you doing that?
Oh, no, we do have a family tree of my dad's side that my cousin did. But other than that, no. No, that was going around before.
Okay.
It's been around for a while, yeah.
So I don't know if somebody, because anytime they show me Ancestry.com or like the DNA, the family tree and all of that, I would be curious to know if one of those family members put in that information somewhere digitally or virtually, or because usually whenever they talk about that, that's just stuff we've done after they've passed or whatever, or before even, that's fine too. But
okay, yeah.
Okay, a couple more things and then I'll move on. Was your grandmother super crazy stubborn? Okay, one of these grandmas is stubborn, doing stuff her own way. But then there's another one that's... So was your grandmother, your mom's mom, somebody you looked up to, somebody that helped guide you or take care of you when you were much younger?
Yeah, no, it was my dad's mum. I wasn't born. Yeah, before.
Oh, perfect.
Mum
Okay, great.
died before she was married, just a bit before she was married.
So your dad's mom is the one in spirit. Is she stubborn? Is she someone that did things? Okay, because this. And so was she someone that like tried to help you or raise you or tried? Because listen, I have this female grandmother that's like stubborn, doing things her own way, and then like making me feel like it's very important that you know that she's still doing these things on the other side and making sure that you are being guided and protected and being, you know, like, I know that like your mom is going through what she's going through, but you're going through things as well, all at the same time, and they're just really making sure that you know that they're around you as well. So is your
That's good to know. Yep, I'm happy with that.
Is your child what's 28? What's 28?
That's her age, yep.
Perfect. Your child's 28.
Yes, yep.
Okay. So this is just to acknowledge the fact that your loved ones are around her as well, and that that's just to validate and to solidify that you're being guided but more importantly, for you to surrender to your signs and symbols too. Know that 1111 or 333 and waking up at 3 a.m. are very crucial as far as connecting to spirit. So I don't know if you're experiencing those kinds of things or if you're waking up at random times, but those things are for sure things to really look into. But did you keep her ring or necklace? Because she keeps giving me jewelry.
Yeah, her bangle it is. Yeah, bracelet.
Bracelet. Okay, piece of jewelry. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Very good.
Yeah. Can I just ask you, like, so if I wake up at 3 a.m. and it's a good time to connect to spirit, how do I do that?
So you have to become you have to become thoughtless, and you should have zero expectations, and you should just focus on stagnant energy in your mind's eye. So if you just close your eyes and you just put your eyes in the very back and up and out, you'll be able to then focus on whatever comes through. And then if you hear internal voices or thoughts or imagery that could translate to something, then that's their way of trying to communicate to you.
Fantastic. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good one, Brandon.
Well, it was brief and short and nothing crazy, but I hope that this helps you, and just know that your loved ones are with you. Thank you for your trust, and it was great
Thank
to
you
talk
so
to
much, Sandy.
Really comprehensive, and it was really good. So yeah, I like the way you just come up with these random numbers and they mean something. So
Well, thank you, Sandy. We got people waiting, so I'm going to go ahead and click you off,
thanks,
hon.
guys. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Okay, next up is somebody I work with. Shelby, there you are, and you go right ahead.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, I get to see you.
Yes, I prefer it that way.
I do too. So where are you? Are you here in Oklahoma?
I am. I actually work with Keith, like you said. We talk all the time. I've been so excited for you to come back on. But I am in Oklahoma City, so yes.
Okay. So so you so I don't know, it's like okay, I'm trying to understand all this motherly energy, so much motherly. Is there like mom and grandmother, or grandma that was like a mom? Again, I'm getting very motherly energy. So they're saying no. So is your mom Earth side?
Yes.
She's Earth side. So is her mom in spirit?
Yes.
Okay, because she's excited. She's like, so,
yeah, or it could be my great grandmother as well, because my great grandmother had certain gifts.
Oh, cool. Well, so it's I'm getting, and then there's a male coming forward as well for you. So there's like a younger male. You have a lot.
The younger male, I kind of know who it is.
So there's two tiers of males. So I got one younger, like one that died before we felt their time, and then I felt like an older one. And then, do we understand the taking of life or the suicide? Do you understand that?
Yes.
Is there?
It wasn't a suicide, but it was the taking of a life.
Was it with prescriptions or drugs? Just
no. Now I attempted.
Okay, hold on. Okay, 1 second. Thank you. Okay. So obviously we're on air, so we can change the direction if that's something that, you know what? No, because I know exactly what they're going to say, and it's great. Everyone should hear it. So because that's not enough for me to go through that. So I'm going to have to, because I'm not a bullshitter, so we're going to have to go through, and they're going to have to do better and validate some things here. So, because there was a taking of life. So was that a murder?
Yes.
So because they showed me a gun.
Yes.
So
you're gonna make me cry, but yes.
Was this like a nephew or a young boy, or who is this?
I'm gonna try not to cry. It was actually my oldest son, who was 21.
Okay.
It was his father that was murdered.
Okay. So, okay. So, can I ask if he was cremated or who was cremated?
My grandmother.
Okay, thank you. So because I have your husband, and I think he's really wanting you to know that. Okay, well, let me ask you a couple of things. So there's a component about you who behind closed doors, you just get shit done, and you tackle through life in a way that you do it in the way that you need to, not to be seen, because it would be better for you to just do things under the radar, not to be seen. But at the same time, in the same breath, you aren't getting appreciated and you're not being seen in the way that you deserve. So therefore you've told yourself, well, then I won't be seen at all. And so so I went to call him your husband, but he stopped me. Were you guys not married?
We were not married. We had been engaged, but we weren't married.
Perfect. So that's his way of validating the fact of the bond and the relationship, and using this opportunity to let you know that his soul is at peace. And he wants to say with God, but there's not a super strong religious connotation to that. So do you understand? Okay. So it's one of those things where he's great, but he's stubborn, and he's kind of doing things in his own way. Again, he's just like a typical dude, but he's like a life of the party. He has a great smile. There's something about his energy that I'm attracted to, but I'm also kind of repelled by. So I don't know if he liked adventure or journeys, or like things that he would just put himself in around people. It doesn't matter who they were. He just kind of embraced life. And then he just found himself in a very bad circle of people, or in a very weird situation. It's almost like wrong place, or something like that.
It was exactly that.
Okay, because he's like, I'm a really good guy, but because of the statistic that I'm attached to, I feel as though my legacy was not carried out in the way that it could have, based off of my walk of life. So do you understand that? Was he also very dark? Was he dark complected as well?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because he is saying, I think I'm another black man.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
He shows me a heart of gold, and how he tried to be the opposite. He's like, I try to go against the status quo. I try to be level-headed, and I try to do exactly and everything I was supposed to do right. And even that got me where I got myself. But I need her to know that nothing could have prevented this. But I need her to know also that I'm using this opportunity to see her in a way that she's not been seen before. Because how can she experience happiness and joy and fulfillment not knowing exactly what happened, or where I'm at, or what's going on with me? So he is just really trying to show up with a perspective change, clarity, and he's really just letting you know that his soul is at peace and doing everything he can to guide and protect you and his son. So was he into football?
Yeah, he actually played football when he was in high school.
Okay, but is his son carrying this out, or doing things that his dad did? Or not doing that? Okay.
He's not, no. I tried to get him into it, but he won't.
Oh, did you? So did you try to do that maybe after he died?
Yeah, he actually got killed 2 months before my son's second birthday. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is what. Okay, so if you've tried to, because he says that you can see him through him, but you can't see him act like him, or act like. It's like this strange. It's like, I know that you're his son, because I can see him in there. We're different, and that's what he's trying to do, is trying to acknowledge his walk of life, even though he's not carried out portions. But there's sensitivity coming my way, and then LGBT community. So I'm not sure if that comes to him, or if he's just trying to address somebody else.
Probably my younger son.
Okay, so another son of his. Got it.
No. It's a sibling, but not the same.
Correcting it. Yeah. So that's the thing in my readings. I don't even need to talk, because if I do it wrong, they're going to stop me. So he's trying to acknowledge somebody in your life connected to those two things, regardless of if you know it or not. It's just very much around that kind of bubble of energy. Because he gets to watch you be the best mom. You've lived like 3 lives. It's like this version of yourself right now. You're just trying to figure this out, and you're just really trying to find who you are, and he's doing this with you. So are you still with the partner you're with that child's dad?
With the youngest son?
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. So are you on your third marriage, or third what? Because that's what he said, third life.
So I'm in a relationship now.
Okay,
But-
so you're entering because it's almost like a different version of yourself. And I'm surrounded by a different kind of love, a different kind of compassion, and a different kind of understanding. And you're at a point in your life where you're almost afraid of the success and the love and the joy that you can actually experience. And he says, no. He calls you like baby like no, baby Jesus, or no, sweet baby, or some sort of name or something. It's just like, no, sweet girl, or whatever. So it's like, no. You can really enjoy the bliss. We're really working over here. We're trying to get you to a place of your life because you've worked at yourself and you've set up your walls. You've set up your boundaries. You've told yourself what you want, what you don't want. You've told yourself that you're not going to accept and nothing less. And here you go. We've received that message and we've delivered. It's your job to take it. So do you understand that?
Yes. Yes, very much so.
Good deal, because you have every right to be happy.
Thank you.
Because
I needed that.
it's a big deal. I can talk to you for forever, I feel like. So
Get back to work, Shelby.
Oh my God.
I'm trying
That's
to, but I had to work a double and I didn't
I'm,
even want
I'm
to.
teasing, hon.
I just
Did
had
you-
one question. Go ahead.
Is there a granddaughter yet?
Oh God, no, I better not have.
Okay. That's why they said, yeah, got it.
She's
Yeah.
freaking out now.
Yeah, because I have a 21-year-old, so I'm like, I better not have.
Not that you know of.
Not that I know of, but I did have a question, Brandon. What do you know, if anything, about walk-in souls?
So souls that enter the earth in the middle of a life.
Yes.
Okay. This is how I know I really am an idiot and I know what they're saying because I've never heard that before. That's what they just told me what it was. Because I was like,
Right.
what the hell is that? So,
Yes.
Okay. How about you tell me, they said, ask her for her experience.
Yeah. So I was telling Keith about it before, and he was like, what the hell is that? I went to a spirit fair in Oklahoma City. I was walking past this lady that was reading palms. And about the third go round, she stopped and she pointed at me and she said, I need to talk to you. So I went over and she was reading my palm and she stopped and she said, do you know that you're a walk-in soul? And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. And she said that basically at some point, the soul that I was born with had reached its purpose and it was done with this earth. And so it ultimately traded places with another soul. Which there's some things that I have memory of that my family has no recollection of. And there's some things that I could,
They're talking about it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and then there's some things that I should remember that I don't.
Okay, so in order for you to achieve the level of fulfillment and joy that you absolutely need to achieve in this lifetime, your souls do need to switch out. It's not that you're not untethered or tethered. It's just like a different version of yourself is in this version of this timeline, and it's not to freak anybody out. This is what they're saying. It is to help release not knowing. Because, like, why would I not remember some of this stuff? Or why would I have these weird illusions or memory recall? Or, like, did I actually go through that? Because I feel like if I did, it would feel familiar. And that's the film. They're saying the familiarities are not there.
Right.
So does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So, because I don't understand that. So this is just about knowing that it's not intended to know or to understand. What it's there for is to release any guilt or doubt surrounding what you're aiming yourself for. Because I don't know, man, your grandma, did she just take care of everybody?
Well, she was a mother of 15 kids, so yeah.
Oh,
No wonder she's like, I just took care of everybody. Because
Yeah.
you have to understand one thing, and then Shelby, I'll let you go. But you have to remember, everybody listening, you've embodied trauma up to 3 generations. And Shelby, part of what you're probably experiencing is trauma related to your folks and the generations above them. And so although your life really wasn't that chaotic or crazy at certain parts that you may feel like were, you've embodied certain impressions of the emotions of the incidents that happened to them when they were alive. And in this lifetime, you feel those emotions as if you've gone through what they've gone through. So what they're saying is, we're just here to release all of that. And when people talk to you like they know you, do not have your invisible claw on the inside of them, robbing them from pain, so that way they don't experience it. That way you do. So they're saying, cut it out with that.
I'm an empath, an intuitive empath.
Yeah, I know.
I know you know, but still,
He's
it's hard
psychic, Shelby.
to. I know it's hard to block it when I feel it so strongly.
So Shelby, this is what you can do for yourself: is you can just give yourself permission to be the ears and the voice for other people that they didn't have, that you didn't have when you were a child, and you can do that for others. And that's all you are. You don't have to be the emotional vessel. You don't have to carry the weight of the world for yourself or for others. You can just be the guidance that people need, or the ears that people need. And then you just breathe it in, and then you let them carry their luggage.
I will practice that wholeheartedly.
Yes. No, I know I say it so easy and nonchalant, but it's definitely easier said than done. But thank you for your trust. I wish I had more time with you, but know that your son's dad is at peace with the light, but really, really wants to thank you, but really wants to say he's sorry that he left you really high and dry, having to figure out a lot of stuff.
Thank you so much.
All right, Shelby, thank you so
Keith.
much. And we got
All right.
the bye-bye. We have the last one, you guys, and this is Cass. Cass, this is Brandon, and you're on mute. There you go.
Hello.
Hi, sweet soul. They just said you were a sweet soul.
I am.
Like, I'm not kidding. I'm in like fairy tale land all of a sudden. I feel like there's bunches and fairies and little creatures. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good. How fun are you?
Really fun.
I know. I can't even see you. Okay. Okay, I have to add, Keith, is your mom in spirit?
Yeah, actually, Cassidy's my daughter, but my mom is, and that's Garrett's wife, by the way. Okay, hang on. And yeah, no, my mom's not in spirit. She had a severe stroke, and she's in the nursing home, and she's not herself. But my dad has passed away.
They're saying Keith's
and I didn't want to interrupt Cassidy. He's still sorry, Cass.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
How crazy! Okay.
That's
Okay.
crazy. It's crazy you picked that up.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I didn't know all that. Okay. They said Keith's mom. We need to talk about Keith's mom. And Keith is having a very hard time with the fear of death. Keith is really having a hard time with not knowing what to do or how to handle himself on the inside. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you talking to me or?
Yeah, I mean, you're Keith, right?
Yeah. I don't know that I really have. I mean, I don't really have a fear of death, but I know I'm in my 50s, and I was like, I do worry about, well, man, I only got like 20 years left or something like that. So
this is towards your mom.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, this is so they said we need to talk about Keith's mom, and that he's having this hard time. There's this just not knowing what. There's just some questions, some uncertainty, some question. I don't know what all that is. Okay. So that's why, Cass, you felt so like spiritually in tuned and rainbow and green. And
My world is fun.
you've been given, okay, so now they're talking about Keith's way of, so that's your dad, yes?
My dad's passed away.
Okay, wait, Keith, so this is your daughter.
Yeah, Cassie's
Yes.
my dad. Yeah, I'm my dad. Right?
My
Cassie's
dad?
my daughter. Yes.
Now I'm understanding. Got it. So Cass, you hopped on, and then you're just this little window of opportunity. So here we go. So, okay, your Keith's dad's in spirit. So,
My dad.
okay, there's a lot of love coming towards and from his soul. So I don't know if you guys, even if you guys had any ups and downs and things, but did you guys did you have a good relationship?
Awesome relationship. Yeah.
That's enough said right there, because he's just trying to make sure that we know that it's like Keith was able to like double what I was able to put out, and then from what he was able to do, his children and like his family, they've been able to experience something that has been unlike any other generation. So there has to be some sort of recorrection in making sure that we have really allowed legacies and families and generations and our family members to love and to express and to be, and we just don't want to deal with drama. We're just going to hash it out, but let's just not worry about it. Let's just make sure we all feel loved. And like, there's just this wash of things that we're just like, no, we can't give that value and merit, because if we do, it damages our values and morals. We have to remain above that. And your father is saying, due to your diligence, your family has been able to see that and be the representation of that, and that you should know that when you pass over, you will be able to leave big footprints behind. And I can see Cass doing this or acknowledging something. I can't see her, but I can feel the soul. Just acknowledging this acceptance of love, being taught how to feel, is something that I think Cass prides herself on, because there's people in her life that do not know how to express their emotions in the way she can. Do you understand that?
I
I
absolutely.
do, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what your father is doing, Keith, is in a way where maybe he couldn't really articulate it this way. He's really just wanting to make sure that you understand something. He's proud. And he loves you so much, and he wishes he would have said those two things way more, although it's understood.
Right.
He wishes he would have vocalized and really made sure that it was a concrete thing, rather than working so hard and really being diligent in things and really making sure things were evolving and moving forward, and work was had and things were paid and everything was working forward. So do you understand that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a sense, though, with your life that you've been able to take a pause. And I don't know if this came with grandchildren or not, but there's like this moment where we just really looked at things differently, and we slowed things down. And because he shows me like owning a house and how that's going to allow us to feel value and credibility and power. But really, it's not those things at all. Really, in this moment that you had, you were able to reawaken to your priorities and then carry out a different legacy as your Poppy or Pop. What you have grandchildren, right? Papa?
Yes. Yeah, I have 4.
What do they call you?
Poppy or Papa. Sometimes they call me Pop. No, they call me Papa most of the time. Papa. Yeah.
Poppy, Papa. Okay, that's what he's trying to acknowledge. He's not giving me the word grandpa. He's giving me the Poppy, Papa, something like that.
That's what they call me.
So he's trying to not only validate your walk of life, but your pivot of change in the way that you're going through even now. Because, Keith, you're going through this really cool transitional period under your roots, because the world around you is changing rapidly, and what you remember it being is no longer at all, not even a single ounce like what you remember it being.
Yes.
And that's what blows your mind, is now that you're in a different generation of your time, you're really like, this is just all phases anyway. And there is a lot of shit around us, and we have to comb through that and really hold on to things that really matter. And so for that pivot and how you were really shaping your legacy, it's getting carried down, and it's amazing. And your dad is just so excited to be a part of it. So was there changing of the will, or was there somebody that didn't get as much as they thought, or was there some sort of like,
Yeah, there was a changing of the trust. Yes.
so does this include you?
No, I'm in it, me and my sister's in trust. I have another brother. He's mentally ill, and my sister and my brother-in-law, that was kind of their thing. They kind of took him out of his third on that.
Did that happen when your father was in spirit?
I think they had it in the works. I don't know if it was officially done before Dad passed away or not. I can't remember.
Was he known for just jeans? Would he just wear jeans? Did you keep his jeans?
He wears, yeah, all he wore was jeans and sweats, and that's it.
Like jeans are signifying something, because he shows me jeans and they're dirty. And
Yeah.
so
That'd be correct.
like, I'm like, dude, you need to wash those jeans. He goes, I did. They just look like this.
He's the kind he's the kind of guy, if he spills something on his jeans, he's like, he didn't care. So
That's
yeah.
funny. Do you understand that I just had a moment with your dad and I said, you need to wash those? And he said, I did. They just look like these.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Funny. And I keep hearing change in my pocket. So did he have change in his pocket often?
No, not really.
Okay, do you have change in your pocket often, or do you find change?
No, I really don't. I just use my card. I never even keep cash on me. I rarely have cash on me.
There's actually Cass. Somebody used to always send change home with the grandkids on your side.
Yeah, that's true.
All the
Who is
time.
That was
Oh,
was that
Granny?
That was
Yeah.
Granny,
All
and
the time,
she's
dude.
in spirit.
okay?
I shouldn't have said
Just bottles of change and bacon. Oh, sorry, I wasn't anything.
that.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's
I just
fine.
think it's so funny. Sorry.
Was she from a very small town? Because she showed me a very small town church.
Yes.
Was she faith based?
Yes.
Because she's giving me church candy and a Bible.
Yeah.
that would be her.
Yep.
100%. Yes.
The little like.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
And she had my teeth fall out. Did she have dentures?
Yes, she
Yes.
did.
She looked up at me and she says, over the Rainbow Bridge. So do you have a dog with her, Cass?
A dog?
Did you lose a dog?
I mean, yes.
A baby dog? Like a dog that was like your baby?
I wouldn't say we had right, we lost Iggy, but whenever we had whenever Iggy passed, he wasn't with us.
What do you mean?
Oh, sorry. Some more context.
He was on a farm.
So yeah, we had to downsize our house at the time. So we had a dog, we were really close to this dog, and we had to give him to a relative, and then he passed from there.
So where does that connect to a family property?
No, I
Did
don't.
she leave behind family property?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
They're talking about family property. Did she leave behind family property?
The house that she lived in, my grandpa still lives there.
So does he own the property? Is it family owned?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, she's
Sorry.
taking me to family property. I understand now. And that's where her husband then lives. So, so is he now all of a sudden hard hearing? Is that a new thing?
So I don't see him as often, to be honest. But I do believe that he does have difficulty hearing, but I honestly, I haven't seen him in a while.
Because she's like, hello, trying to get his attention. So.
Yeah. It's hard for me to verify, kind of details like that in regards to him.
So, okay, wait, did she? So she's the sweetest little lady. She's just like coming up to me and she keeps giving me like things, and she cannot give me enough things. She's like, she's a giver.
Yes, she is.
And she's so humble. She's like, I came from very little to nothing, so I know what it's like to have nothing. And she's
Yes.
like, no. She's like, I can have the biggest house possible, but I don't want it. What I want is,
Oh my God.
guests. I want 50 people to live with me if I lived in a 50 bedroom. I don't need a big place. Like she's just like, I need to help people. So she is really, really coming through in the way that we remembered her on earth, because she's doing that on the other side. And she can just talk circles about anything. And she's bringing up all these souls as though she can't meet a stranger. And she's just like, I just need him to know that he's doing a really good job having all those people. Like,
That's absolutely her for sure.
Yeah.
And she, anytime I have a soul that's connected to an era or a generation, of course, there's things that I'm going to just inevitably see, though, because I'm seeing like doilies and fabrics and things like blankets and quilts. So I'm not sure if she's trying to acknowledge if we've kept blankets and quilts, or if we've kept things like dishes and china and all these little knicky-knackies. So she just has a lot of shit. Is that right?
Do we? Yeah.
We have whittled it down, and I feel like she'd be okay with that. But
No, I'm saying, Cass, she's talking about like the quilts that she would give all of our kids, the fabric, probably.
She did give us a lot of that,
even all the things that you collected as a kid from all the different states.
Yes.
I mean, dude, I could go on and on about all the things you collected with Granny.
Yeah, I did. I collected a lot with her.
Yeah, because that's what's happening is like she's giving me a lot of things, and anytime they pile on, it's just like, okay, now I have to stop at the specifics and just say there's a lot of stuff. So basically, though, like here's the deal: like, do you feel okay? Because she says that you experience things more than you put out or say or talk about, and you just smile and you just say, "Hey," and then you move on. So does that make sense to you?
Yeah, 100% for sure.
So intuitively connected, and that it's almost like you ask yourself, am I a medium? And they're saying, yes, you are. And so it's just one of those things where you should really embrace, so 3 kids. Is that you guys? Who has the 3 kids?
I have 3 kids, yes.
Oh, so you should embrace it's like they're talking about the 3 kids. And how you guys, oh my gosh, they're just like, they are the best talking about you. And so Garrett, this is, you guys are married, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So they're talking about how communication is key, and how Garrett, you have really done a good job at trying to match her level of trying to understand emotions, even when you don't understand them.
That's the truth.
You're like, I don't want to be an asshole, so tell me what I need to do.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Nailed it on that one.
That's exactly right.
It's so funny because I'm such an empath, so emotionally driven, and Garrett's like, he can just like be like and write anything off, and I'm like, how do you do that? And we have to like meet in the middle there.
So Cass, what they're saying for you is to give yourself the permission to let Garrett have the time to process, and then to engage with the right words to be able to better execute his new skin that he's creating. Whereas you, though, you're like, what's wrong? Tell me now. What's going on?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. That's so
Garrett's like, I don't know because I'm mad and I don't want to say something.
That's so funny.
So Garrett, the way you should understand something, because what they keep talking about is just the response mechanisms. And I don't know if we talked about this. I don't think we did last time, where maybe you feel the need to be a version of yourself that represents a better version of yourself, where maybe you have impressions of your dad or your mom and you're like, that's like them and I don't want to be like them. And so what they're doing is they're correcting your rhythm, or they're acknowledging how you're correcting your rhythm. And they're giving Cass like kudos for being there to guide, help, protect, and like tolerate. But there's not a lot of that anymore, because you both are like, okay, for this to work, we have to do X, Y, Z, and we're both doing X, Y, Z. Is that right?
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah.
For sure.
So
That's insane.
So because so did you have a boy first?
No,
We
Oh,
have
yeah,
three
I'm-
girls.
I'm so sorry. A girl and then a boy.
no, we just have 3 girls.
But we did have a miscarriage.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. And are you guys done? Are you not going to have another
Oh,
one?
we're done.
We're done.
3 daughters, Brandon.
He
Man,
just had a
Come
sport.
on.
I get it. I have 4 boys.
Yeah.
I'm one of 4 boys. So.
What are they doing here? What are they showing me the boy? 1 second. Okay, that makes sense. So let me ask you a question. Is the oldest a little less sensitive than the others?
I would
No.
say opposite.
Okay, perfect. So that got me where I'm at. So what they're trying to acknowledge is like how we were introduced with a repeat on a sensitive level to where we can then correct certain mechanisms or responses. So between Garrett and Cass, you'll notice that your oldest one will probably reflect your patience and tests as far as what to say, what not to say, how to love differently. It's an expansion of your knowing with how to communicate to the human race. So we are trying to then continue to increase our vibrations with understanding even the next generation and how they receive, what's it called? They're showing me like participation trophy, even if you didn't do anything. And it's like, we don't understand this validation that this generation needs. When they do very little, they need to be uplifted. And it's like we're in this in-between world of traditional and millennial parenting based off of what's in front of us and our offspring that's entering into this new generation that we're
Right.
just not understanding what to say or what not to do and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
While understanding that all 3 of them love and listen differently. And so they're just big tests for us and they know shit. You have an older soul. One of them is an older soul. Is it your middle one?
Oh,
Yes.
oh.
Yeah.
Your middle one is like a freak of nature, knowing things. And it's like, we don't need to worry about her as much right now because she's just like this knowing of like, she gets it.
Yeah. We always talk about that.
Brandon, you're unbelievable, man.
Yeah, you nailed that for sure. She's such a, and that daughter you're talking about, she's just a free spirit, daredevil kind of little girl. Not a care in the world.
No.
So Cass, have you tried to meditate and connect to your spirit guides, but you're not getting what you want?
I mean,
Cass, you've been
More-
meditating lately out of nowhere.
that's what I was about to say. Very recently, I have just been trying
Yeah.
to just meditate and kind of
Yeah. That's what
just
they're
center
saying.
myself in that way. I've never meditated before up until recently, and I've just been kind of trying to do it more or practice it, you know.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. And if anyone's
No.
watching, I let people talk. I just obviously time and everything. But they keep saying that you started meditating and you're not doing it the way you want to in order to receive what you want to get. There's not a pullback. There's a pullback in getting the return back.
Right, right.
Okay. So you can't enter the meditation busy-minded. And, you know, it's interesting. Can I ask you, because they're showing me like a marijuana gummy. So do you take anything or do you have some sort of supplement that you can take to kind of relax your mind?
When I meditate, I literally just like do deep breathing but I am, if I'm being honest, busy minded like every time I go into it.
I know you are. That's why I didn't ask you that.
I was just validating because you mentioned that, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely an issue here.
I'm only joking. So, because they're showing me to take some sort of supplement to slow the mind down. So they gave me what just I know to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
They keep saying melatonin gummy though. So are you not sleeping?
I don't sleep well. I do have issues like just turning my brain off in general. So.
Mhm.
So they're saying gummies and they're giving them all to me.
Yeah. Give me all the gummies right now.
That's so great. Oh, God.
So your children are going to be fine.
Thank you. you hear that, Cass?
Yes, I definitely heard that.
We are so spiraled in this web of feeling like, are we doing enough? Are we doing enough therapy or speech or like, or communication or teaching? Are they learning efficient? I don't know what's going on.
No, that's
they're just-
exactly, you're saying exactly like the chaos of what goes on in my mind in regards to my children and parenting them.
So we're doing enough, but what they're wanting you to do is relax because you're actually robbing from a thread of energy that they're eager to feel that they're not able to feel.
Makes
Whoa.
complete sense.
So from you overthinking, you're damaging. So just view
Right.
it that way.
Yeah.
So just boom, got it. From you trying to prevent trauma, you're kind of creating a little bit.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that.
And it's not to call anybody out, because trust me, we're all parents. You know, if we're parents,
Oh,
if you're a parent,
no.
We
Actually,
openly talk about it. Me and Cass communicate pretty well. We talk about it.
we're such an
Everything you're
open
saying, we're like,
door.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just don't
No,
want you to
I
feel
receive all of this very well. Like, I completely understand.
because they've already said you guys are freaking phenomenal at the way you guys decide to process and handle your communication and make sure things are said, because they're still showing me all the laughter and the fun times, and like we have a good time in our house. It's crazy chaos, but we embrace the suck and we just truly embrace it and live through it.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing. And you need
It's so
to
crazy.
embrace that and just know that you guys are incredible parents. You guys are incredible souls. You guys are actually helping people, more people than you know. There are reflections and impressions of your souls that go ripple after ripple after ripple. So if you often wonder what I do and if it makes a difference or not, they're saying, heck, yes, it does.
Aw,
So
yay.
continue to do this. And especially, Cass, like the connection with all the animals that you have in general. Like, I don't know if you're connected to animals in general, because I feel understood by animals, or I feel like I could talk to anything and everything that has eyes and a mouth. But it definitely is this like sweet ability of like, because they're picking up a bird in front of me that fell off a tree, and they're like, we need to fix his wings. And so I don't know if that describes you or not, but there's some sort of connection with animals here.
That's not the first time I've heard that, actually.
Weird.
But if I'm being honest, I don't like. So I've heard
I
that.
don't care for animals.
I just like, I do definitely have like a caring, like, for anything, you know. But
Everything.
Okay, everything. I did try to help a mouse, like.
Oh my god. No joke,
just
dude. I had
giving
to
birth
like
in our garage.
I had to like scoop up these little baby mice for Cass. I was like, what am I doing right now?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly,
But
Brandon.
but I guess what I'm trying to say is I would never like have pegged myself as like an animal person. So every time I hear that, it's a little like, you know, like kind of makes me think.
Because to you, it becomes so natural that it's your identity.
For sure.
Okay, yeah.
And so then when someone calls it out, it's like, well, wouldn't anybody do what I'm doing?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Neither would Garrett.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man, I like these readings because they're light, they're fluffy, they're little guidance. You know, we're not really going through the chains of death, and we're really keeping it kind of afloat for people. There's obviously some people watching that may need a course of pivot of changing their mind before kind of more of the harder stuff can come through. And I say harder stuff, like more triggering things.
Yeah,
like
For sure.
they talk about, you know, a lot of the death stuff. We talked more or less about your soul dashboard and things that we're doing, just little tidbits, right? And that's what a lot of this stuff is. Because when I'm connected to one person, whether they're on Zoom or in front of me, and it's just that one person, because as I'm connected to you, Cass, I'm also like, people are watching, and then I have other people in my house. So there's a lot of stuff, obviously.
Right.
But I think that's a good little portion to know that you have some angels around you and some spirit guides that are.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
great, man.
No, I
Thank
loved
you.
it. This was great. I loved it. So
It's
fun.
just fun. And like it doesn't change my life to the degree that like if people are like, I don't believe in that shit. Well,
Yeah.
it's like change my life. And if anything, I just want you to know you can call me whenever you feel like you need me. You know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's where, because that just says that you're just not there in your timeline, which I get, because if you told me a year and a half ago I'd be a medium, I'd say, oh, hell, if I am. You know,
Yeah.
so I just, for anyone that's watching and listening, I just think that it's important to give yourself, so Cass, I don't know if this is for you, but they're saying we should not put too much pressure on ourselves on our own timeline, and understanding that we are where we need to be. Don't feel like we should be further along the timeline. So it's like the adulting thing. They're saying that adulting comes so easy that it's like we're not really adulting because we're having fun.
Yeah,
Right.
well, it's funny you say timeline, because I have literally been kicking myself for not being on a certain timeline like in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been really like really just frustrated with myself, so it's really crazy that you acknowledge that.
Whenever you're on a frequency, right?
Yeah,
I'm on
yeah.
the frequency, so I'm going to pick up words that have been used or lingo, or because
Yeah.
they're trying to vibe with you, they're trying to connect to you. I'm just the telephone. So you have to like literally imagine these balls of energy in the 5th dimension, which we can't see because we're in the 3rd dimension. And so they can see us because you can see dimensions underneath you. And so that's why they're able to go anywhere and whatever. And like, it's just amazing. Spirit's amazing. And it's like not about me, and it's not about any other medium. It's just about hearing the content. It's about hearing what we need to hear, and then understanding that there's a telephone, and that you wouldn't have a great conversation with someone on the telephone and then hang up and be like, thanks, telephone. So we should.
Right.
So as you're giving gratitude and as we're giving appreciation, I just want people to always do that to their loved ones, not to the medium. Of course, you can thank the medium, like, thanks for doing what you do, but don't put the mediums on a pedestal. We're still human, right? So obviously I'm talking to the viewers, I'm talking to the people that will listen, but this is just really about humanizing mediums and normalizing spirituality.
Oh my God, dude. This has just been. Cass, what did you think, huh?
I
She was
mean,
so
love
excited,
it. I'm
dude.
so glad.
Our whole
I'm
family
so-
was pumped. I was like, Brandon's coming on.
Well, and I was gonna wait because I was like, I'm gonna let somebody else, but everybody took too long, so I was like, well, lost your chance. Sorry.
All right. Hey, we just,
for sure.
oh god. Hey, I was just gonna ask Cass, will you just heat up those fajitas before I get home, honey? I love you.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
Awesome.
All right, Cass, I'm going to let you go, baby girl.
Okay, bye, Brandon. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, love you, Cass.
Love you.
Brandon,
Bye.
Love you. Bye. Brandon,
That was awesome, dude.
Like when you were doing the readings, we were listening, but me and Keith kept looking at each other and saying, this is such a great show, man. We were like, I can't thank you enough for taking time to come on.
You're so nice. Thank you for having me. And I'm always interested. So anytime you want to connect again, let me know. And then, for those that are listening, if anyone's ever interested or feel the pull to just finding out more content, there's information on my website, which is readingswithbrandon.com, and there's videos on there. Like, I'm not trying to give this for people to hire me. This is for people to see past work. So if they, for some reason, it's not in the budget and it's just not something they can do right now, at least some of that content can teach them or save their soul from some sort of negative thing. If that's all that video does, then great. Like, go check it out. I talk about several types of readings on the videos on there. Like, there's actual live readings and stuff, and there's a lot of great message that a lot of people in general can hear. And of course, if you're interested, you can always schedule a reading. I am booking for next year now. At the end of, I think my next appointment's the end of December and then it goes into the next year. But anyway, I do want to thank you guys again for trusting me, especially those who I've read on here, including you two. I do know that it's a big deal for someone like myself to enter your orbit of energy and your space, and I don't take it lightly. So thank you, everyone that participated.
Oh, thank you so much, Brandon.
As soon as you get that info about those classes, seriously, if you don't mind, just shoot them over to me, because I do want to get into that, and I will put the word out because I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it. It's been a great show, and you actually answered a lot of questions I've had. So
yeah,
that's comforting for me. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Good night.
All right, and for you guys who didn't get your reading, and we'll have Brandon back sometime later, and then you can call in then. So
How awesome is he?
he's awesome. They're just, I mean, man, he's got a real gift.
He really does.
Yeah, he's like, we haven't had one person that he's read that said, no, that's wrong. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's like,
or
that's a
he's
gift.
so in tune.
Well, and then the other part of it is like just the work he's putting into trying to understand his gift.
Yeah.
Makes it even that much better, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to go to, I might go with you. To
Yeah,
that.
yeah, let's do
That
it.
would be fun. And we got to do that. Okay.
I gotta eat dinner.
Yeah.
That was fucking great though, man.
All right. So guys, thank you so much for spending your time with us. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. If you're from Brandon's channel, subscribe, man. We talk about this kind of stuff every week. We love you guys for taking the time out and spending it with us.
Absolutely.
And we will see you next week. Have a great night. Love you guys.
Bye.
Peace out.